this is it. Tevin Campbell has come,
Heavens to you. It's like I have leprosy. That's the problem to me. Like, when we can get to the place in society, especially black folks, where somebody can just say, yeah, I'm gay.
Remember Tevin Campbell, the 90s teen sensation with a voice that could melt hearts? He had it all, talent, fame, and fans. So what went wrong? Why did such a gifted star fade from the spotlight? Let's dive into the highs, the heartbreaks, and the hidden truths behind Tevin's rise and surprising fall.
You want to go out sometime?
Who, me?
Well, I thought maybe we go out for peace tomorrow night. I mean, if you're free.
Well, I'd have to check my calendar, but I think I'm free.
Tevin Campbell's story begins in Waxahachie, Texas, a small town with big dreams hiding in its churches. Born on November 12, 1976, Tevin didn't grow up rich or famous. He was just a regular kid with an extraordinary gift. Raised mostly by his mom, Rhonda Bird, Tevin had two siblings, Marche and Demario. His dad wasn't in the picture much, leaving shortly after Demario was born. But Rhonda, she was his rock. More than a mom, she became his manager, his biggest fan, and the one who always believed he could shine. Tevin's first stage wasn't fancy. It was the church. At Jacob's Chapel, little Tevin sang gospel songs that left people stunned. Even back then, folks said his voice gave them goosebumps. He didn't need a microphone to be heard. He had power. His mom, who also sang and was nicknamed Little Aretha, helped him find that voice. She pushed him to dream big, even when others thought those dreams were too big for a small-town boy. Then came a life-changing moment in 1988. Tevin was just 11 when his mom made a bold move. She got jazz flutist Bobby Humphrey on the phone and had Tevin sing for her right there on the spot. Humphrey was blown away. She didn't just hang up and forget him, she recorded Tevin and sent the tape straight to Warner Brothers Records. That's how Benny Medina, a big name in the music world, discovered him. Medina heard the voice and instantly knew. This kid had something special.
There was a lot of pressure. The next Michael Jackson. It wasn't so much a pressure meeting those people and working with those people because I was a kid. But the pressure was hearing things like the next Stevie Wonder, the next Michael Jackson. He sounds like Michael Jackson. That's a lot of pressure.
And then Quincy Jones entered the picture. A legend, a genius. Quincy was working on his album Back on the Block and needed something fresh. He chose Tevin for a song called Tomorrow, A Better You, A Better Me. Tevin was just 13 years old, but he sang like he had lived 1,000 lifetimes. That song became a #1 R&B hit and even cracked the Billboard charts. Back on the Block didn't just win hearts, it won 7 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year. And Tevin? He wasn't just a feature, he was a standout. His voice, his charm, his talent, it all lit up the music world. The 1990s were Tevin Campbell's golden years, the time when he wasn't just a rising star, he was the star. By the age of 14, Tevin had already done what most people only dream of. He dropped a debut album that made waves everywhere. That album was called TTVIN, and it proved he was more than just a teenage talent. He was the real deal. The album gave us powerful ballads like Tell Me What You Want Me to Do and Alone With You. These songs weren't just radio hits, they were everywhere. Tell Me What You Want Me to Do showed off his crazy vocal range and made people stop and say, wait, this kid can really sing. The album went platinum and even got him a Grammy nomination. Not bad for a teenager from Texas, right?
I had no idea at the time, like when I was 15 or 16 recording a song, that it would have that impact. I was just a kid singing in the studio. I listened to the songs. If I liked it, I sing it. But I didn't think about the future. But oh my God, that song is really, really powerful. And all the new generations are learning it because their parents listen to it.
Yeah.
But Tevin wasn't done. In 1993, he released his second album, I'm Ready. And that's when his fame exploded. This album had hits that are still unforgettable. Can We Talk, I'm Ready, and Always in My Heart. Can We Talk became his signature song. Everyone sang it. Everyone knew it. It went straight to no one on the R&B charts. The album sold over 2 million copies and went double platinum. Plus, it earned him 3 Grammy nominations. Tevin was on fire. And guess who he worked with? Prince. That's right, one of the greatest musicians ever helped shape Tevin's early career. Their track, Round and Round, became his first solo hit. He also teamed up with Babyface, who helped produce I'm Ready. These weren't just casual features, these were huge names backing him. Even bigger, in 1994, Tevin toured with Janet Jackson. That tour introduced him to audiences all over the world and sealed his spot as one of the top R&B acts of the time. Tevin wasn't just killing it in music, he also had fun in TV and movies. In 1995, he voiced Powerline, the coolest pop star in Disney's A Goofy movie. His songs Stand Out and Eye to Eye became instant classics. Kids who didn't even know R&B knew Tevin's voice. And if you watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you probably remember his guest role as Little T, the teen idol who took Ashley Banks on a date.
You know, I do it live. I can still hit the notes. So that's a blessing, and I'm very, very blessed to be able to do that because not every singer can say that they can do that.
We know that for sure.
You know.
Thanks.
Tevin Campbell ruled the early 90s, but by the late 90s, things started falling apart. The music world was changing fast. R&B was shifting, and fans were chasing new sounds. Smooth ballads were out, and hip-hop and edgy styles were in. Tevin's clean image and classic voice suddenly didn't fit the new vibe.
It was a hard time for me because I didn't know what was going on, but there were a lot of politics that was going on at Warner Brothers. So I'll never forget showing up at the photo session for that album, and I had the twist. And they literally lost their minds. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing the twist? And then right after the I'm Ready, it was a huge fight with Prince and Warner Brothers and those songs that he produced.
In 1996, Tevin dropped his third album, Back to the World. He was growing up and so was his music, but something was missing. The title track was solid, but it didn't light up the charts like his earlier hits. The album went gold, still impressive, but not platinum like before. The magic seemed to be fading. Then came Tevin Campbell in 1999, his self-titled fourth album. This time, he tried something different. The sound leaned more into neo-soul, and he teamed up with artists like Wyclef Jean and Faith Evans. But it didn't click. The album barely made a splash. The only song that charted was Another Way, and even that didn't go far. Fans weren't feeling the change, and the album flopped. That same year, Tevin hit rock bottom. He was arrested in California for soliciting a lewd act from an undercover cop and for having marijuana on him. The headlines spread fast, and just like that, his clean image took a hit. He paid a fine, went through counseling, and stayed quiet for a while. But the damage was done. Behind the scenes, Tevin was struggling. Fame had hit him young, and with no real guidance, it became too much. He later admitted he faced mental health issues and felt lost. He was also wrestling with his identity in an industry that wasn't kind to young Black artists, especially ones dealing with and personal truth. Rumors began to swirl. Was he being blackballed? Did the industry turn its back on him? Some believe his legal troubles and the whispers about his personal life led big names to quietly distance themselves. Others think the changing music scene just left him
I
behind.
got to live on my own, and I had to sign in 30 minutes before showtime, and I had to dress myself, and I was working with a group of people, which was something that was totally new to me.
Yeah.
That was a great time in my life. I grew up a lot in those years.
Tevin Campbell's voice was smooth, powerful, and unforgettable. But when it came to his personal life, especially his he stayed quiet for years. People wondered, the rumors swirled, but Tevin kept things private until he was finally ready. Back in the early 2000s, Tevin gave an interview to Sister magazine. When asked if he didn't say yes or no. Instead, he said he was a meaning he liked to try different things. It was a clever answer, maybe even a shield. Tevin was clearly dealing with a lot, and the world wasn't as open back then, especially not the music industry.
Being around people that were like me, LGBTQ plus people that were like living normal lives and had partners, and I had never seen that.
Yeah.
That was pleasing to me, you know, and they were great people.
Yeah.
So I was never around that. So that gave me this whole outlook on the world. And then I went to live in Australia for 2 years, doing the same part with a whole different cast, a younger cast. So they kept me in my P's and Q's, but they wanted a real black seaweed with the black accent. You can't.
Fast forward to 2022, and Tevin finally shared his truth with the world. On Twitter, he posted simply, "Tevin is now out and proud." Later, in a podcast with People Every Day, he opened up more. He said he had been out to his family and close friends since his late teens, but the reason he didn't come out publicly earlier? The 90s weren't safe for that. The pressure was real. Being a young black male singer in the spotlight, there was no room to be openly without risking everything.
We don't have one gay person in our family, like a gay cousin or a gay uncle, you know. I think that we have a lot of work to do when it comes to that. Accepting, there's a lot of stereotypes when it comes to LGBTQ plus people. I didn't do the quote tweet, which was something to the effect of, so girls tweeted something like, I had a talking to my mom and she told me that so-and-so and so-and-so and Tevin Campbell were gay.
He explained how scary it was to even think about coming out back then. Record labels didn't support it. Fans might have turned their backs. He felt trapped between his talent and his truth. So he kept quiet, focused on his music, and let the whispers continue. But now, Tevin is living free. He said he feels better than ever, stronger, more at peace, and fully himself. His honesty has inspired fans all over the world, especially those who grew up loving his music and also struggled with identity. Then came a bump in the road. In 2020, singer Jaguar Wright made wild claims that Tevin had once worked as a worker and had a problem. Tevin didn't take it lightly. He clapped back on Twitter, calling it online defamation and warning that his lawyer was ready to act. Tevin Campbell might have stepped out of the spotlight for a while, but he wasn't done. In fact, he found a whole new way to shine. In 2005, he made a bold move to Broadway, joining the cast of Hairspray as Seaweed J. Stubbs. The role was a perfect fit for Tevin, full of energy, soul, and fun. He stuck with the show until 2009 and even toured with it in Australia. Fans got to see a whole new side of him on stage, and it reminded everyone just how versatile he really is. In the 2010s, Tevin didn't forget his roots. He decided to make a comeback to the music scene, starting with a bang at the Essence Festival in 2014. He wowed the crowd with his iconic hits like Can We Talk and Always in My Heart. Fans were thrilled to hear that powerful voice again, and it felt like the Tevin we all knew and loved was back. It was clear that the magic wasn't gone. During the same period, Tevin worked on a project with legendary producer Teddy Riley, and there were whispers of a new album. Unfortunately, that project never saw the light of day, but the fact that they collaborated shows Tevin's hunger to evolve and experiment with his sound. In 2022, Tevin received a well-deserved honor when he was awarded the R&B Icon Award at the Black Music Honors. It was a moment of recognition for his incredible contributions to R&B music. He'd been through ups and downs, but his legacy in the industry was undeniable. Tevin Campbell's journey is a testament to resilience and reinvention. From his early rise to fame to his return on Broadway and in music, he's proven that true talent never fades. If you enjoyed his story, like, share, and subscribe for more on legendary artists and their unforgettable legacies.